Hello and welcome back to the Trainland Railroad. Today I'm going to be building one of my cardboard structures that I do. These are a couple examples of some that I've done in the past. This one the roof comes off of because I did it that way. So it's cardstock, just old boxes. These were both actually done before I even had a HO scale ruler, so I was just kind of eyeballing a lot of stuff. So if you have a little bit more patience, you can probably make them look even nicer than these two. Take a little more time with the exacto knife, trim out some nicer shapes, and all that jazz. So today I've got a little plan drawn up. Got a floor that's salvaged from the building that is actually the same, but I salvaged some parts off of it, including roof, and I'm realizing now that I'm going to have to make adjustments to the roof because so I drew up a simple plan mostly just for figuring out where windows and stuff are going to go. So I'm going to start by making out some of our walls. And yeah, I'll come back once I've got a few done, and then once I've got some marks. Okay, so I've got all my walls done except for one, so I'm going to do one just to show you guys how to do it. So I've got a strip pre-cut to the height of my walls. This can vary depending on what you're building. I'm building a little one-story cabin, so I've scaled the wall height to be 6 foot, or 6.5 feet actually. So that comes out to (14/16). That can be simplified to eighths. 7/8 of an inch tall is HO scale 6 foot. So now I'm working on the wall I've identified as F, and I've forgotten to do the measurement, the length of that wall. So we're going to plug that into the calculator real quick. I did not need a calculator to do 15 minus 5. Double check, make sure. Notably, 15 minus 5 is in fact 10. Just in case you were wondering. So then I've made my two little marks. Take my ruler, line it up real careful. Honestly, I can't really see them because of where I've got my lamp, but that is set up so that you guys have the most ideal lighting. And we're going to see how long it takes for me to start blocking things with my fingers. A good sharp exacto blade is going to be handy here. And then that is wall F. And I'm just designating an up so that I keep everything all the same way up. Now, I'm going to figure out some of my windows and mark those up. I've got them laid out in the plan here just so that they aren't as willy-nilly, but you don't really have to. The The plan is optional, really. You can just start making stuff, just measure stuff, make sure, you know. Okay, so I've marked up the window here. Now I'm going to very carefully cut it out. Easiest thing to do is put your ruler on the outside of the window frame. For windows, I personally tend to aim for inside the line, just for the sake of, because when I'm conceptualizing the idea, I find that I tend to overestimate how big I want the windows to be, really. Something I tried on that little blue building that I showed you earlier, because I had the windows in post, I just painted behind them black, because I didn't feel like figuring out how to put holes in it precisely. And you want to put the ruler on the outside of the window so that when the knife moves away from the ruler, it's... Okay, we're just going to turn this upside down to do this because I cannot use the knife right-handed. It will end poorly. Just very carefully line it up. And then I'm going to line this up on the grid of the thing so it's easier to tell if I've got the ruler straight. Okay, and then I'm going to do the top. I found that possibly one of the additionally more important things when doing this is making sure that you're holding down your ruler tight so that it is also clamping your part, because run out of hands. So we should be able to just pop that out. So I didn't get quite all the way through on all the corners. So what I'm doing here is just going along the back side. Okay, there's one window hole done up nicely. I'll trim that out in front and then I will put a piece of clear plastic behind it as glazing. So we'll put that on the pile. We're going to do the rest of the window cutouts and then I'll bring you back for the door. Okay, so I'm going to measure out the door placement. I yet again did not put it on my plan. Where the door is. So this window is a little offset to one side. I think we're gonna go for 6 inches from the corner to the one edge of the door. And then the door is 36 inches wide. That almost seems too wide. Okay, so because of the nature of the building I'm going to go for 30 inches for the door in HO scale. So whatever that time divided by 87. .5/16. I don't know. Do your own conversion math. Okay, and then we want this to be 6 feet tall. Honestly, probably not. What if we go for... Most of I'm shortening this so that there's enough meat on the top part of the cardboard, because this is in fact a structural member. So, to help make sure I'm drawing my lines square, what I'm doing is I'm taking my ruler and lining it up square on the grid of my cutting mat, holding my part up against it. Then we turn the ruler. We can use the grid of our mat to ensure that the line we draw ends up being square to the part. Just make sure that we're not getting too far away from any of the grid lines at either end of the ruler. You turn 90 degrees. Do the same thing again. You might notice that the only surfaces I'm using as reference on this wall are the top and bottom. That's because I suspect that somewhere along the line I was not picky enough when I was cutting out the lengths of cardstock. I suspect around I had the end of one wasn't square, and then I measured off of it. So, you know, some of these walls might not be perfectly square, but that's okay. While I was cutting out some of those other windows, I had the thought of those Cricut machines, you know, a little CNC exacto knife. And I was like, yeah, I might have to look into that. So I might talk to some people I know who have one of those, who are familiar with how they work. See what it's actually capable of. Because I think they're intended as a vinyl cutter, but if I had to take a guess, some heavy cardstock wouldn't be too crazy. Just gotta So a lot of the way I do this is based on feel. However, if you want to get fancy, you can like you could probably even copy a plastic kit or a wood kit although if it's got like a textured surface, that's going to be a little hard on you. Okay, so I now have a pile of walls. You can't see them probably. I now have a pile of walls. Now I'm going to, so I like to put the printed side of the box to the inside. You'll notice that I've not painted, well, I painted the outside of this box, but that was because I was making some trim for some others, different project, and I wanted pre-painted so that when I cut it, I didn't have to worry about it curling as much. So that's also why I painted the printed side. If you're gonna have the bare side out, you have to assemble and then paint. Otherwise, it will curl really bad. So I've got this little piece of glass. I think it's out of a picture frame, and I'm going to use it to assemble. I am also going to look for something with a little bit more gravity to it that will sit square. This is a lathe tool from when I took metals class. So what we're going to do is we're going to line this up here, and actually I have the perfect dingle for the job here. Clamp that to that with a magnet. For a moment there I was thinking about just gluing this to the glass for a little bit. I'm not sure if that'll come off. I bet if I put some Scotch tape on it, it would. I don't want to go get my Scotch tape right now though, so we're going to try it without. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple dots of super glue along here for some screw it, we'll run a bead. You could probably do this with white glue too. Sorry you guys, I missed a big chunk because I ran out of storage space on the on my camera. So I'll go over it a bit. So I've got, right now it's glued to this piece of glass. So I've got everything's glued up nice in there, and you'll see these braces in here, which just add a little bit more rigidity so that this is more sound. Again, I'm seeing a soft spot in this cardboard here, so I'll probably add another strip of cardstock along this top edge here at some point. Probably turn that side just to maximize its stiffness. So I've got everything glued up here, and for a moment I'm going to pause. I'm going to prepare the door for being installed, and by prepare door I'm going to make a door to install in here because I want to do that before I do too much else. I'll probably end up just keeping it simple, so I'll show you guys when I get there. Okay, we're just gonna lay that on its side for that then, because I don't feel like doing all the work to get it to stand on end. So now that, so there's a little door, got a doorknob and everything. It's actually more advanced than some of my other structures. Because a lot of the time I'll skip the handle on the door just for the sake of convenience. So now I'm going to take and bring back in this, put some glue on the edges of the door, glue it to my fingers a bit. Realize that my door opening has somehow changed shape. And then because I didn't trim off the top before I put it in the thing, we're gonna do that now. We're gonna throw a magnet on there. Scratch that. We're gonna try and take the magnet off without hurting anything. Then we're going to grab one of our window cutoffs, offcuts, whatever, and we're going to brace right behind the door with it. I don't do interiors, but that is because I do not see the need, since I'm not lighting the inside of any of these buildings. I can always add interiors later. Don't do what I'm doing, it's not good for your fingers. Very likely that you end up cutting yourself doing this. Okay. Got that in there good. Now I'm going to grab a chunk of our wall, and I'm going to make a dang nabbit, it's too short. So what I'll do is I'll scab on this chunk of it, and this will give us a nice sightline divider. It's going on that. I think I had this problem with the bigger house that I did. Honestly, yeah, this way you could use the brace more. So we're gonna just mark that. Light scoring cuts do a better job making sure that you get a straight line. Gonna see that this fits. It does not. We're gonna look for a piece of sandpaper. I've got one around here somewhere. Then we are also going to grab a hair off the top, because this is sitting on top of the floor instead of next to it. You can slide that in, and that adds a bunch more rigidity and also makes it so you can't see through the whole building. There are very few structures in real life which you can see straight through, so we're going to slide that right there. If I wanted to be extra fancy, I'll probably make sure that I go in there and paint that white. And I think, for the sake of time, I'm going to make this a two-parter. Anyways, thanks for watching part 1. This is what we're finished with. I'll paint this off camera and separate it from the glass because, well, it does make a nice handle. Oh look, so that's Saltine Cracker Box. Boy, do I hope I'm still recording. I should get a little inspection mirror so I can check that easier. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.